All right, Wailana Medeiros, Yakakoa mahalo for coming. We'd like to open up this space with a mele that was composed by Dr. Keawe Lopez, Wailina Manoa, and invite Wailana to offer that for us.
Hey, righty. Pelina manoa I ka lehua aloha, aloha ua tuahine. Mai rua hine a I waikiki, kia I ke kahaukani. Kani no nā leo e o kamaʻaina, aina aloha e, manoa e. Great, let's get this thing started.
Mahalo nui, mahalo. Um, so aloha mai kākou. My name is Kāwika Tengan. I'm professor of ethnic studies and anthropology here at UH Manoa and part of the Center for Oral History team that worked really with a very unique and special project brought to us by the HK West Maui Community Fund to record these stories of Native Hawaiian borders at Lahainaluna. Um, we have a lot of mahalos, and I want to make sure that we kind of note them up front. We were kind of blessed to work with Lahainaluna Borders Association, as well as the library and archives at Lahainaluna. Susan Yap, who I see here, was very early in helping to support all of the coordination of these efforts as we were connecting with people. Jerome Kahele, who was there kind of by chance when we were working first with the Borders Association. Umi Perkins, who we spoke with and consulted, Kahuanela, who helped us get set up at the Napili Beach. Jen, who I see there, aloha, in helping to coordinate another. I don't know if Kavehi's on or not, but I hope Kavehi comes on, who is a student here at UH and also a boarding alum. Our own COH students, other students that were working in ethnic studies classes, and especially all of our narrators, which is the term we use for those who are the interviewees, those who are narrating their own stories. And if we go to the next slide. So here's this wonderful, amazing group of primarily boarders. We had 20 boarders that we were able to interview, as well as two staff, although we didn't get the full interview, unfortunately, with Auntie Lori, but did have some really wonderful mana'o from her that we were able to include in our story map, even though we couldn't do a full interview with her. And we're grateful for that opportunity as she passed. And isn't just trying to connect back with others, found out that Uncle Black Dudua from Molokai had also passed, and we didn't get to hear from all of those, so I'm not sure if we're also missing anyone who's passed on since this project started, but wanted to dedicate this launch to them and really to all the generations of boarders um, whose stories perhaps weren't recorded, but who made such an important impact in the school. So with that, I want to next slide, please, Micah. Introduce Mary Kumi Udiniko, who is our director for the Center for Oral History, to say some words.
Aloha, everyone. What an honor and privilege to be here with all of you to participate in this launch of such an important work that Ty, Wailana, and our predecessor, Daviana McGregor, who is here as well, who embarked on this project. So aloha, mahalo nui for all of the work that you've done. It's my distinct honor to be the the director of the Center for Oral History, and next to introduce our wonderful dean, who has been a champion for the work that we've been doing and really trying to help us strategize ways to do more work like this. So I want to cut my time very short because you're not here to hear me, and introduce you to our dean, Denise Conan.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Denise Conan. I'm the Dean of the College of Social Sciences at UH Manoa. And let me just say that the Center for Oral History and the Department of Ethnic Studies are two very special programs within the College of Social Sciences. And I couldn't be more proud. There was a time when we were looking at the Center for Oral History and just how to support and nurture and take it to another level. And I came to understand through many discussions that the oral history is really an important research element for all of the work that we do here in Hawaii. So much of our history is oral in nature, and capturing those stories is vitally important. So I'm so glad that I can see so many here from the community that have participated to provide your histories, to provide your stories, and others who are interested in this project. And this project is special to me for many reasons that we've seen over history, the importance of capturing at a moment in time, capturing this information. I hope I'm not freezing or cutting out, but
You're okay? Mhm.
I'm okay. Okay. But also, when this, kind of collaborations with Lahainaluna came to my attention through Lance Collins. Actually, Lance came to me and asked just how do we go about trying to capture these histories? And I remembered some of what I learned about the work of the Center for Oral History and thought that this would be a wonderful collaboration. So I'm so glad to see it come to fruition, and I'll turn it back to Ty to take the program further. But again, mahalo and thank you on the behalf of the College of Social Sciences and UH Manoa.
Mahalo, Denise. And just on the technical part of things, if folks, you can always adjust the view on your own screen. There's a thing where you hover your cursor to pull if the slideshow to make it smaller and the gallery bigger. And at the top, if you hover over the view, you can bring the speaker forward just in case anyone is like, oh, how come they're so small in there? And why are everybody looking at the slides? So feel free to adjust on your own so that you can get a better view of the speakers. And as Denise has already started, like to really mahalo Lance Collins, who I knew from back in graduate school, and then he reminded me that he actually met me when we were in college. Dr. Lance Collins, Esquire. I'm not sure even how many other degrees there are to acknowledge, but really stalwart champion for Pono in our community, who came and brought the project on behalf of HK West Maui Community Fund. And so, Lance, please share some mana'o and thank you again for all the work that you all do.
All right, well, mahalo and aloha, friends. I want to note, I think I only see Jen Mather right now, but Summer Kupao Odo and Linda Nye should be joining us. Hopefully the weather isn't affecting them and preventing them from being here. But I wanted to note that we have several HK West Maui Community Fund board members who have indicated they were going to be here, and I see Jen right now. So very briefly, I just want to note that the HK West Maui Community Fund really pushed this project because oral history is not just about remembering, it's about reclaiming. It's the voice of everyday people, the workers, kupuna, aunties, farmers, fisher folk, and the people who do not often get written about in textbooks, but who help build and hold our communities together. Too often, history gets told from the top down by the powerful for the powerful, and oral history flips that. It speaks from the ground up. It gives us the stories of those who labored, who struggled, who resisted, and who survived. It reminds us that history does not belong to politicians or corporations. It belongs to the people who live it. In Hawaii, oral history is inseparable from land, from place, and from community. It tells us how our families have survived colonization, plantation life, military occupation, and now displacement from rising housing costs and disasters like the recent fire. and not just how we survive, but how we organize, how we help one another, how we show up for each other when systems don't. When we listen to oral history, we're not just hearing about the past, we're learning about power, about inequality, and about resistance. And we're building a record for the future so that our children and grandchildren just don't inherit stories of struggle, but also of solidarity, of pride, and of dignity. Oral history reminds us that people have always been the historians. The archives are in our voices, and we preserve them. We don't just honor the past, we arm the future. So on behalf of the HK West Maui Community Fund, I would like to really mahalo everybody who's involved, both with the University of Hawaii and also for the boarders and their families, and also Susan Yap, who were instrumental in making this happen. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Lance. Wow. I'm glad we were recording that. Beautiful. And again, huge mahalo to the HK West Maui Community Fund. At this time, I'd like to invite Craig Murakami, President of the Lahainaluna Borders Association, to offer some words on behalf of the organization. Craig.
Thank you, Ty. First of all, I would like to thank the University of Hawaii, Lahainaluna Native Hawaiian Oral History Project, and HK West Maui for allowing us to share our stories. And I'd like to go over the objectives of the boarding program, which has not changed in over 100 years. And the objectives are to create in the border desirable work habits, self-sufficiency, self-discipline, and an understanding and acceptance of responsibility. It is also to create an environment around the border that will expand his or her horizon educationally, vocationally, socially, and culturally. The Lahainaluna Borders Association was established in 2009. The association as we see it today was established in 2009 by a group of Oahu-based boarders as a nonprofit organization for charitable, educational, or literary purposes. They also organized an all boarders reunion to bring all the boarders home and rekindle interest in the boarding program. The reunion was held in 2011 to celebrate the 175th anniversary of the boarding program. A scholarship was created and awarded for the first time in 2012. We were asked at this time to assume the leadership of the Lahainaluna Borders Association with members from the island of Maui, as we had a more direct connection to the school. We have awarded a scholarship every year since then and will continue to do so with the support of our members. Our mission was sidetracked when the state expressed concerns over the program and considered closing it. I graduated in 1971, which would be the last year that boarders experienced the full boarding program. In the years to follow, we would begin to lose the dairy, the poultry, the garden, the orchard, the piggery, the auto shop, the machine shop, the carpenter shop. Our rotation in working in all of these different areas would provide us with the general knowledge in these fields that many of us still use today. It was never the intent of the program to make us farmers or carpenters or auto mechanics, but many of us found a lifelong career in some of these fields because we found out that this was our calling. Many went to college, became doctors and lawyers. Many entered and had successful military careers. All of us can look back and attribute our success to objectives of the program, which we all lived as a boarder. Desirable work habits, self-sufficiency, self-discipline, and an understanding and acceptance of responsibility. We had an environment created around us that expanded our horizons educationally, vocationally, socially, and culturally. After the All Boarders reunion, it was our goal to reconnect with the school and try and bring back some of these experiences to the current boarders. We faced numerous problems in continuity and support due to a revolving door of administrators. Then came COVID and the fires. Finally, in 2021, we started working with the new administration was open to our suggestions and is still here today and embraces the boarding program. In 2022, we dedicated an orchard project, which we called Ekahi, with over 30 trees to include mango, avocado, ulu, and banana. Last year, we did our second phase, Elua, that includes countless banana and mountain apple. This year, Ekolu, we have added lychee, papaya, avocado, curry, and abiu. Next year, we look forward to planting another area, Eha, with vegetables. The boarders work with us 1 day a week, and volunteers from both the community and past boarding students help during the summer and breaks. Just one small step in bringing the boarding experience back. And no, we're not training them to be farmers, but to appreciate the objectives of the program. As the orchard blossoms, they will expand upon harvesting and marketing and other valuable life lessons. It is my hope that these stories will raise interest and inspire students to become boarders, and also inspire adults that may be interested in working with the boarding program as a dormitory attendant or boarder's cook. The lack of staff has caused the administration to require students to go home every weekend, which is preventing them from experiencing a full boarding program. And also preventing students from the neighbor islands and far outreaching areas of Maui and hurting the enrollment. So hopefully we can reach out to the community and get more people interested in the boarding program. Thank you.
Mahalo, Craig. I was so happy to hear about this. When we were out there, you were just doing that initial planting of ekahi, and I've been wondering, oh boy, what happened, especially after the fire. So really just brings a huge smile to my face to hear how much has been happening since then. So mahalo for all you guys have been doing. Okay, I think Micah, can we go to the next slide, right? So that first time we went out was 2022, after the dialogues that we had with HK West Maui Community Fund. That's when we first got to meet Craig and Eddie, especially, who will be speaking towards the end. But spent a good amount of time in the library, in the archives, with Leslie and Tara. I know Tara was on here, I think. Yes, I'm losing track of who's where. Um, in addition to Wailana Medeiros, Micah Mizukami, and myself, Daviana McGregor, who's also on the call, was a part of the core team doing the research and the interviews, and again, the ways in which Daviana has really shaped the Center for Oral History and Department of Ethnic Studies cannot be understated, and really appreciate her participation and guidance in all of this. I'm going to also, in a second, move to the story map, the kind of big event that is the digital presence for our interviews. But I do want to also note that it is something that is a living document, and that, along with the transcripts, we're able to make edits and to change things. Especially when people find, oh, that's a little bit wrong, and Tara and Nakata did already send us a nice correction. In some of our literature, we were maybe repeating some of the statements that we shouldn't have been about Lahainaluna being the only public boarding school. So I'm going to read directly from her email here. Oftentimes, people claim that we are the only public boarding school in Hawaii. Our archive committee tries to make sure that we let people know that there is one other public boarding school in the state, and that is the Hawaii School for the Deaf and the Blind. So mahalo, Tara, and really anyone who finds things that we need to kind of correct, please let us know right as soon as you do, and we'll respond as soon as we can, and try to make sure that all the voices are accurately portrayed here. So I'm going to try to share my screen. I was failing at this earlier. Is this now sharing? Okay, I got too many things open, I think. Close some of these tabs. All right. So this is the story map that Wailana created. And Micah, can you drop the link in the chat for people to go to on their own? So you can also scroll through this on your own. That gives a little bit of the overview that we just shared. The kind of cutoff of 99 coincided with the closing of Pioneer Mill. And that, I think accelerated a lot of the changes in boarding that Craig kind of highlighted earlier. The years of 50 or so was based on who we were able to interview, and Uncle Abner, who will be speaking, is the oldest alum that we were able to interview, though there are others that we were speaking to as well, and hope to be able to continue. Our project is done. The Lahainaluna Borders Association has expressed interest in continuing it, and we want to also support their work. And I know Craig did at least one interview already. And any way we can support, we would love to do that. Some of this history is just coming off of the school's website, but again, a deep, long history of an important institution in the kingdom and the place of boarding that after the school was established 1831, boarding starts in 1836. And really, the experiences we were looking at were from that period of kind of the 50s through the 90s. Oops, sorry, I'm losing track of things on my screen here. And did a lot of archival work when we were there at the library and the archives, got to scan some old yearbooks, find some other really beautiful images there. But critically, we're trying to look at the history that gave the context for the stories being shared by those who we were able to interview. Each of these parts in the story map, as Wailana will say, you can click on to hear the videos. And again, it's only a partial timeline because of the narrators that we were speaking to. And certainly much more can be filled in. And this is again the invitation for people once you go through here and say, oh, wait, what about this? And, okay, and we can add certain things to, and that important gathering that Craig mentioned of the borders. So that image again here, clips, and really want to hand it over now to Wailana to walk us through all the narrators.
Yeah, mahalo kutai and aloha to everyone. It's so awesome seeing everybody again. And I'm so happy to be finally presenting the story map that I was able to compile based on all of the wonderful mana'o that many of our narrators who are here today have shared with us. So yeah, this is the meeting our borders section. So I kind of want to highlight all of the people that we've been able to talk to. We went to every single island. The first one we're going to talk about is Hawaii Island, where we got to interview Auntie Monica Akamu, who was born and raised in Ka'u, still living in Ka'u, and she graduated in 1995. We also had the privilege of talking to Uncle Earl Kalawai'a and John Palos. They were roommates at Lahainaluna and are still really good friends today. If anybody was at Lahainaluna and remembers the band Sour Poi, they were the ones who started it. And that transcended their experience at Lahainaluna. We then have Auntie Althea Magno, who's with us today. She was a key person in the FFA program. She also went back to Lahainaluna to teach ag and head the FFA program there. We talked to Uncle Zera Kekueva, who was born and raised in Honaunau. He graduated in 1962, and some of his highlights was his experience in shop class. And then head on to Maui Island, where we talked to Uncle Craig, who spoke earlier. He's a graduate of 1971 and serves as the president of the Lahainaluna Borders Association. And then I saw him join Uncle Kaava, David Kaava Heva Heva, who was born in Kailua, now living in Waikapu with his ohana, a 1980 graduate. And then Uncle Eddie Espiritu, who was born in Honolulu and raised in Molokai and currently serves as the secretary of the Lahainaluna Borders Association, who you'll be hearing from later. Some of our Lahainaluna faculty, Auntie Susan Yap, I see her on here today too, where she shared with us some of her experiences being a dorm matron. And then Auntie Laurie, we got to briefly talk stories with her and she shared some wonderful mana'o. And she's such an integral person to the Lahainaluna Borders community. We went to Molokai as well and got to interview Antoinette Tony Yamamoto. She was the first girl boarder from Molokai to graduate from Lahainaluna, which was super awesome. We also interviewed Chad Ka'ahanui. He's a graduate of Lahainaluna in 1986, living in Kaunakakai, Molokai. We also got to talk stories with Brent Nakihe. Brent Nakihe was a graduate of 1987 and enjoyed playing sports at Lahainaluna. Uncle Black Dudois, we also had the privilege of speaking to. He was a graduate in 1966. So we're super honored to really pass on his story of his experiences. And then moving on to Oahu, we have Uncle Abner De Lima, who's here with us today, and we'll talk after me. And he was a graduate in 1955, and also inspired some other people to go to Lahainaluna too. And then we talked to Haunani Haya, who is from Waianae, and she was a student of Auntie Althea. She graduated in 1994. We also got to talk to Genevieve Leigh Ken, who's also living in Waianae or Nanakuli. She was a member of FFA, and she was the first girl boarding department president. And then we went to Kauai and got the honor of talking to Uncle Sherman Micah, who enjoyed his time being in the Hawaiiana Club, which really shaped the trajectory of his career being a musician. He graduated in 1979. And then we have Uncle Keli'i Alapa'i and his son, Kanoi Alapa'i Hashimoto, who really credits their experience or longing to go to Lahainaluna to Uncle Abner. So that was such a beautiful thing listening to during their interviews. And then we got to talk to this husband and wife duo, Nanea Sprott Armitage and Nelson Kualoho Armitage, graduates in 1999 and 1998. Yeah, and so this is kind of a map of our interviews. We got to, I pretty much put in the location of every single interview, where we did it, and you can kind of scroll through the map if you want to. And it pretty much shows the same picture that you see above. And yeah, so that's really awesome. And then the story map kind of goes into the border work and jobs. We have a picture of the time clock, the infamous time clock, and then all of the jobs. Yeah. And, I don't have to tell you guys what your jobs were, but kind of goes through the jobs, daily life, your schedule in the dorms. Here's a picture of David Malo dorm, and then Mary Helen Lindsay. Yeah, we have super awesome photos. We also wanted to highlight girls going to Lahainaluna when they were admitted as boarders in 1980. And then some of the border traditions, which are inseparable from experiences as boarders, right? Liming and lighting the L. Right there's a picture of the boarders at David Malo's grave just above Uncle Abner, where, leis were placed on David Malo's grave, and people sang. We also have David Malo Day, right? First David Malo Day, I think it was 1972. Yeah, a lot of my memories in interviews is people talking about making the imu and preparing for David Malo Day and how big the imu was and all of the hula and mele and etc. Right? And then not only on campus stuff, but off campus stuff as well, going down to Front Street, hanging out, going to the beach, spending time with sponsors. Yeah. getting into trouble maybe. But yeah, there was a lot of extracurriculars, as I mentioned earlier, FFA. Linnea was a part of FFA, so was Auntie Althea. And then Hawaiiana Club and Borders Chorus. Borders would attend every Sunday. And Borders Chorus, also founded by Jimmy Gregg, wanted to put that in there. Performing songs from the alma mater to Oko Aloha to Yonder Lahaina Mountains. Yeah, and shop classes. Here's Uncle talking about shop classes. And then sports. Of course, we have so many athletes. All of our borders, you flip through the yearbooks and you just see all-star after all-star after all-star. And that picture above there of the football players was from Uncle Kaava, Heva, and that was his class. And then here's kind of a visual to what Uncle Craig was talking about earlier, the borders helping to replant the orchard. And Auntie Lori talking about that day. And then, of course, the values that borders were instilled with, right? The pride, all of these things that people take away from their boarding experiences. We have clips of all of our narrators talking about how much Lahainaluna means to them and how different Lahainaluna is from every other school experience. And yeah, we're also touched by the many stories that were told throughout this project. And we just want to mahalo you all for being vulnerable and telling us or reminiscing with us, really. We really, throughout every single interview, felt like we could see exactly the things that you have experienced. And I also, reflecting upon being there in every single interview, you can tell how much these experiences mean to boarders just by how much they can recall to a T. Yeah, it's what a beautiful, beautiful project. I'm so blessed to be a part of it, and mahalo to you all. Yeah. Oh, also, I
Mahalo.
interview, not interview. Hello, we already did all of that. I want to introduce Uncle Abner, who we talked about earlier, a graduate of Lahainaluna, the class of 1955. I want to call him up and just to say a few words about being in the project, maybe some reflections of his border experience, and then hopes for the future. So yeah, mahalo, Uncle Abner, for being a part of this project. We were so stoked to hear when we went to Kauai that Uncle Kili'i and his son were so inspired by you. They also happen to be my blood relatives, so that was pretty cool. So yeah, just want to call on Uncle Abner to say a few words. Mahalo.
Oh, mahalo. I'm just thankful to be part of the program. And I give 1,000 words of concurrence with Craig and Esperito for forming this Borders Association. It seems like, that's going to be the backbone for the Bordering Department for life now. Bringing out all the things that was involved, being a border and all of that, that was really something. And being interviewed about Lahainaluna at that time, I've been away from the school for so long that when we started the interview and I started thinking back of when I first started as a boarder up until graduation, there's a lot of things that stuck in my mind, but the biggest thing was my freshman year when I was assigned to work at the dairy. And I had to get up 4 o'clock in the morning, wash the cows, and get them ready for milking at 5:30 in the morning, and then go back to the dorm. And after we get through, I had to take care of the calf pen too. All the calves that were born after we got through milking, I had to feed the calves the milk, and I learned how to do that. And then we also had a milk room where some of the dairy people were assigned to take care of the milk and doing all the skimming, and then was distributed to the school and downtown, whoever requested to have milk from Lahainaluna. And that was a big time for me, getting up 4 o'clock in the morning, but I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, learning how to milk cows. We didn't have the machine at that time where I had to learn how to milk with my hands. And that was really something. And then moving on to my junior and senior year, I started playing football, and I was assigned to the utility group where we had to go pick koi in the morning, 100 pounds, and bring them back and drop it off at the barn for the cows. And then after school, I was assigned the core gang. We had to go out with a big red truck and get some more core. I had about 3 or 4 guys helping me going out through the cane fields. At that time, we had cane fields. So the gulch that had core was from that irrigation from the cane that overflowed into the gulch. And that's how we was able to get all the core. And that was gold for us to get to the cows and feed them that. And so that was a big project. As far as experience as a boarder, the biggest thing for me was we had boarders, guys from every island except Kauai. Until I graduated, nobody was a boarder from Kauai. But after I left, then they started to come in. And talking about my 2 nephews, I don't know what happened, but maybe I was sharing stories and stuff, and they got interested too. And a few others from Kauai went there too, their friends and relatives. So that was another experience for me. But overall, I just want to thank you folks for this project and maintaining Lahainaluna. The L is a symbol for me. Whenever I go to the town, I always look for that L. And I learned Lahainaluna, that the meaning of that Lahainaluna was the school above the town, above Lahaina town. And I just want to share that, so when I tell my friends or relatives when they go to Lahaina, don't forget, look for the L. That's the school above the town. And of course, the alma mater, the only Hawaiian alma mater in the state, maybe in the nation, I don't know. But anyway, that was part of our bragging rights. My daughters all went to Kamehameha, and I used to like that song, Ring Ring Kali. But Lahainaluna was always in my heart too. So mahalo, everybody. Thank you, Craig, and Tengan, and all the people involved with this project. Mahalo and aloha. Okay, Malia. Mahalo. Wailana. Nice to meet you. I'm just thankful for sharing this with you and everybody else. Aloha.
Mahalo, mahalo, Uncle. Wailana will introduce our next speaker now.
Yeah, I just want to also pass it over to Auntie Althea, who we also had the privilege of speaking with. She loved Lahainaluna so much that she went back and she was a teacher at Lahainaluna. So she spent a lot of integral years there. And we were really inspired by her interview and talking stories with her because we could really feel the love that she had for that place. So yeah, just want to call on Auntie Althea to say a few words as well.
Aloha. Can you guys hear me? Okay, aloha everybody. Althea Magno. I was a proud graduate, 1983, Lahainaluna. I attended Lahainaluna in my 10th grade year. 22 girls. We lived on the first floor of Ho'opili dorm. My junior year, we moved upstairs. 30 girls upstairs with the boys downstairs. When I went back to teach at Lahainaluna in 1990, coincidentally, Ho'opili dorm became an all-girls dorm. So that was pretty awesome for me, being a boarder, going back to teach at Lahainaluna, and that year it became an all-girls dorm. So Lahainaluna actually had a capacity of 110 it can't hold 120 boarders. I have so much love for Lahainaluna. Who I am today is because of the school, the staff, the people I work with. They instilled values in me. Everything that Mr. Craig Murakami said, and just be resilient. Whatever comes your way, you just persevere and continue to move forward with it. Like everybody, we develop lifelong friendships. I also have the honor of having some people on this borders or history, former students of mine, Haya and Nelson Armitage and Nanea Sprout. So a lot of connection there. I can talk so much more about Lahainaluna, but I think they wanted me to talk about my involvement in the recruiting process. So in 1990, I went back to Lahainaluna. I was part of the Learning Center. I taught along my former ag teacher, Mr. Ted Kalmora, one of my friends from Lahainaluna graduate, Keith Idioka. And one of our jobs besides teaching was to get kids from throughout the state to come to Lahainaluna High School. We were an agricultural learning center. So that was the means to encourage kids to come to Lahainaluna. So I would go around the Big Island. Let me backtrack. They actually created a video, and I was trying to find it, Wailana. Hopefully I can find it. It was a video, a day in the life of a Lahainaluna border. And that video was shown prior to us going to all of these schools. So kids would see the video, and then we would go to the schools. A lot of my time was spent on south side of the Big Island. A lot of kids from Naalehu, Ka'u, Ho'okiana, Haunau would come, and we would go and interview each student. And the first question we would ask them is, how did you find out about Lahainaluna High School? We kind of wanted to know how they found out. Most of them would say a sibling went, or their auntie or uncle or their dad graduated. Then we would ask them a series of questions, one of them being, why did you want to be at Lahainaluna border? There's no particular answer we're looking for, besides the fact that they understood. Most of them would say something to be independent, to be able to live away from home and things like that. But we're looking for the whole child, and we're not necessarily looking for the best or the brightest. So I would interview these students, I would make comments, and I would rate them on the sheet. And back then, it wasn't computerized, yeah? So you would have to carry this big folder around. And after all the interviews was done, the advisory board members would sit and they would decide what students would be invited to come to Lahainaluna. And for me, right now, to see that there's not too many borders there, it's kind of sad and disappointing, because back in the day, there were twice as many spots. Let me backtrack. If we had maybe 25 spots and maybe 50 or more kids were applying to get into those spots. So back then it was if you got accepted, that was a big deal, because not everybody got accepted. So right now, hopefully, like Mr. Craig Murakami said, with the new administrator, we can get back to maybe not 120, but it'd be nice to see at least the girls' dorm full with all girls, and maybe David Malo, maybe at least upstairs in the short wing would be all boys. That is my goal for the school. I can go on and on, but everything I am today as an educator, I can attribute to my experience at Lahainaluna and everybody that helped me along the way. And I just want to say a shout out to two of my former colleagues, Miss Susan Yap, I see you over there in the corner, and somewhere out there is Miss Leslie Hiraga. I had the opportunity to teach with, you're part of staff when I was a teacher over there. So just shout out to you guys. Thank you, everybody.
Mahalo nui out there. That's so great to just hear that wonderful continuity and the way that you're helping to not only then, but now carry on these traditions. And that was really the purpose. And as Lance also said, it's not just carrying on these traditions, but looking how they're going to inform the future, right? Um, I want to invite Associate Director Micah Mizukami now to at least point us to where the story maps are and how to navigate them. And then we'll, after that, move to a more open talk story and bring in some other voices here. But before we forget, Micah, can you show folks how to get to the links to this transcripts?
Yes. So I just put the link to the transcripts in the chat, but I'm gonna show you how to get there really quickly so we have more time for talk story. So I believe the easiest way to get to um our transcripts is to go to our website. It's oralhistory.hawaii.edu. So this is our website. You can go to explore the archives here in the top right corner, and then oral history transcripts. And then you go down to communities. This first one on the top left, click that, and Lahainaluna Native Hawaiian boarding students is the first collection that pops up. So go to read more, and you can browse the full transcript. So I hope that's pretty clear how to get there. And once you get to the ScholarSpace where all the transcripts are located, there's this description about the project, and then everyone's transcript is here. And there's also a link to that beautiful story map that Wailana talked about earlier. So you could go to any of the transcripts, click on it, and then you can read through everyone's stories. I hope that's clear, a clear walkthrough.
Mahalo. And again, like with the story map, if you go to it and you find, oh wait, something is maybe a little bit off, especially if you're a narrator right now who's on and you're going through your own transcript and you see, wait, oh, that's a little bit off. Please let us know and we can make a correction. We do try our best, but we miss some things now and then. So um, really, that is the strength of this kind of format that we can make those changes on them. Um, and with that, I really want to open it up to a broader Q&A and talk story. And maybe perhaps first by inviting some of those others who are part of the project who are online to also share. So Ava, I don't know if you're available to unmute yourself and share. But it would be great to hear from you. Kaava, are you available?
Aloha. I don't know. Something wrong with my camera. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I don't know. I got a new computer and it says I gotta do something with my browser. I don't even know what that means, to be honest. So I don't know. I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna try. Yeah, it says
But did
can't
you?
access camera, refresh browser. I don't even know what a browser is, to be
That's
honest.
okay. We can just hear your voice if you just want to talk story with it. We
Okay.
can we can find a picture and put it up for you. But if you just
Yeah.
want to share anything,
Sure. Mahalo, mahalo. Mahalo, everybody. And when I first heard of the project, it piqued my ear because I heard rumors of the dorms going downhill, and and then I said, hey, we gotta tell our stories because it was something special from what when I went, for sure. And I was the last class of all boy boarders, my year, and so I can't even imagine girls up there, to be honest. But I think it's great for the girls to come too because they needed opportunities too. Yeah, from the countryside and try to get out, and do what they do. And the biggest memory I have for sure is all the country people. They were really good with their hands. The ones from Kenai, Hana, rural Big Island, Molokai, Lanai. They taught me because I came kind of not city, but I was kind of from Oahu, but not downtown kind. But we was more into sports and stuff, yeah. And So when I came, like I had that advantage, but I was behind in the other stuff because those guys could weld horse trailers and, and Jeep frames, you know, and when they're in high school. And I was really impressed with that. And it took me into my future life of how to, you know, apply myself because, you know, I'm a hardworking guy too. So that helped me in my life in the future. I was framing houses for 20 plus years and then I'm into land restoration now. But I kind of retired now. I just do part-time kind of stuff. But I just want to share that I think it was important to share this history and hopefully we can bring it back somehow. Maybe I'll try and hit up the Borders Association and see what I can do to help because as I went to the last David Model Day, this past one, because we had our 45th class reunion, and only me and this other border went. We're the only borders there, but I just look, I go, wow, I had like, I don't know, 20 something girls and like 8 guys. I was like, what the heck, you know? And I don't know who's maintaining the campus, to be honest, because somebody's still got to do it. So, you know, it's kind of mind boggling to me. But anyway, I just wanted to mahalo everybody and just thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share our stories. Even for my classmates, man, they're the best, you know. Just we had some solid guys, you know. And the guys before me too, of course, they was solid. And mahalo. You know. Aloha.
Mahalo ka'ava. Really appreciate that. And we had such good fun talking story with you and
Yeah.
aloha to you and your ohana.
Yeah, mahalo. Sorry I couldn't share my picture. I don't know what's going on.
We got your
kind
picture
of,
up. Micah was
I'm
quick.
kind of
He got
handicapped
it.
I'm kind of handicapped in technology, you know. So,
All good. Mahalo nui.
thank you.
Susan, I see you. Would you mind sharing a little bit from the beginning? You were there to kind of help orient us to this whole project and walk us through. Thank you for coming in.
I'm not good on computers either. You know, I appreciate you giving me way too much credit for being a part of this because I was humbled by the whole thing. It was just to tell the story of borders it's just, it fills you with such joy. And to be a part of it, I'm humbled by it. That to be a part, even know the intricacies of the boarding world means so much to me. I just and I can't believe that I'm seeing Nanea and Nelson because I had them and they went together in high school and there they are together with children. Oh my God. And Althea, it's wonderful to see you. I just want to say that you know, I see people around, they say, oh, you worked at Lahainaluna, do you know my child? And I go, are they a boarder? And they said no, they're a day student. Oh, I don't know them. I only know the border world. So I there's just not enough words to say about how special borders are, and to have, which Craig and Eddie were a part of. I don't know who else was, but the reunion that we had for the I don't know, 175th at Royal Lahaina, where it brought all the borders together from all the different years. And I took the present seniors that were at Lahainaluna and I told them to value this occasion because boarding is all the people that were at that gathering. And I said, whether they're 65 years old or whether they're 18 years old, you all have things in common that nobody else does. Nobody else in the world has the camaraderie of borders at Lahainaluna, no matter what age you are, no matter how many trees you hid in during work, no matter how many overtime hours you got for not making your bed, you all had that camaraderie, that same strength. And to have worked there for 18 years with the borders, I am truly humbled and I appreciate each one of you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Susan. That's beautiful. Um, I think though you two are the only other narrator. Are there any other narrators we're missing that are on that? Micah, I don't think I saw any on the list, but um, I'm looking now in the chat. There's a shout out to class of '58 from Ernest. Would you mind kind of sharing a little bit and giving your full shout out with your voice? If you can unmute yourself, and would love to hear from you too.
Aloha.
Aloha.
I am
Aloha.
Aloha. Uh, I'm Ernest Hussein, but
class on.
I
Class,
don't know.
what class you?
Oh,
50.
class of 58.
Yeah.
And my classmates were, I I don't know.
What is your highlight, Dad? What was your highlight in Lahainaluna?
Oh, I play football.
Football.
Yeah,
Boise State.
Boise State. And I went to Boise State. My
Oh,
classmates, they're all
They're doing good, yeah.
they're all going, yeah.
Mahalo nui.
oh, mahalo. You have a shout out too from Kavehi Kina, who
Oh,
is from Waihe, who is saying, "How's it, Kavehi? Why don't you unmute yourself? Why don't you give your aloha too?"
Hi everyone. Sorry. But Uncle Ernest, it's Kavehi, Diana and Daniel's friend. Funny story. I met Uncle Ernest when I went to their house for a party. They're my good friend's papa. And I was like, yeah, I went Lahainaluna. I was a boarder. And Uncle Ernest, you heard me say that. And he immediately started singing our alma mater. And I was like, aye, so of course I had to sing with you. But yeah, that connection, no matter what year, like you said, Mrs. Yap, hi everyone. It's always there. Can always connect. But yeah. Hi everyone.
Thanks, Kavehi. Can you actually stay? Don't keep yourself on a little while. I just wanted to also acknowledge Kavehi helping us, who she came out of our Department of Ethnic Studies, was a part of a oral history field school with me that I did over here, and we were just so happy to be able to connect with her when we first came to do our research. And Kavehi, this is coming to you now, right? The project is you're gonna get tapped for real now.
Okay. Yeah, shout out Wailana. Wow, you did a great job. I know when I saw the news, thank you. Kumu, long time no see, hi. And everybody in ethnic studies, Lahaina. Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm ready for it now. I can say that. At the time, I wasn't ready. It was such a huge, daunting project, just thinking about it, especially when you folks were doing it during our COVID years, right? And so I was like, oh my gosh. But I was looking back at our pictures when you folks visited the library and Mrs. Yap for the first time, and I was like, oh my God, to look back at that time when you first met Mrs. Yap, and then look at this, you guys released it. Oh my God. It's crazy. I'm class of 2011, by the way. We're going to be celebrating our 15-year reunion next year. So I'm actually planning our reunion for David Malo Day for 2026. So yeah, excited to be a part of it. Hi, E. But yeah, anyway.
Mahalo. Mahalo, Kavehi. So great to see you. And I'm assuming you're not driving. Someone else is driving.
Over.
Oh,
I just pulled over.
Oh.
It was okay. I was in my head anyways. I just passed the park when I jumped on.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for driving safely. Mahalo. Really, I don't know everyone who's on here, and so if you are if you're a boarder, if you're a Lahainaluna alum and you want to share, please raise your hand, use the no, how is it that you do I think the react is how you raise your hand. If you want to share any mana'o, if you're if even if you're not a boarder, if you're just an alum or just a friend and you want to share, please. And then you can go old school, raise your hand like Craig is right now. So Craig, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of, you know, explain a little and then do a pitch for the boarding program. The numbers, we're all concerned about the low numbers. And the biggest reason, or one of the reasons for that was COVID, and other was the fires. And then, it's now a lack of staff. There isn't enough staff to support the program. So, if there's anybody out there who wants to work with the boarding program, I mean, please contact the school, get involved, get the staff out there. If we have enough staff, we can get the students to be in the boarding program 24/7. Right now, because of the lack of staff, they're only there from Sunday night to Friday evening, and they got to go home every weekend. That hurts the ability to bring in students from the neighbor islands. They cannot go home over the weekend. In the past, they had sponsors that lived in Lahaina or Wailuku. Well, Lahaina is no longer there. So there are no sponsors from Lahaina. So please, out there, spread the word. Anybody that can become a staff member, a dormitory attendant, a boarder's cook, anything to help the program. Anybody, please have them register with the school, get in there so we can get the program back to 24/7. If we get back to 24/7, Uncle Eddie and I are dedicated to working with the school and the students and getting programs for them that will get them back to being real boarders like we were. That's all I had. Thank you.
Mahalo, mahalo. Um, I'm not sure who here is maybe currently at the school. Leslie, are you able to unmute and maybe give a little uh share a little bit about how things are going on campus right now? And I can't tell who else might be on the campus right now, but Leslie, are you able to come on?
I I just unmuted. Um, well,
And maybe
like
introduce
Craig.
yourself too and your role
Oh,
and the and other
um,
connections too.
I'm a 1977 graduate. I was a day student, obviously, because there was no girls at the time. Um, and I was in FFA, and that or the ag program, which was in addition to what the boarders did. Yeah, there was two separate things. There was the ag program that got funding through the special legislature money for learning centers. And then there was the boarding program, which also got special money to operate. And oh, yeah, that's me and Tara. Yep, and you guys. Yeah, that was so long ago. It seems like an eternity ago when you guys came up to the library. So anyways, I returned as a part-time teacher and worked for Althea in the Learning Center in 94. And then I became the parent facilitator for the school back in 2008. And yeah, we got Susan Yap and other teachers that retired created the archive committee. And when they were building the library, our library burned down in 1959, the year I was born. And it reopened brand new the year my son graduated from Lahainaluna in 2003. I mean, that's how slow things went for Outer Islands and funding. And yeah, it took a lot of lobbying to get the money to build that library. So it included an archive room, which got shrunk down to whatever it is, 10 by 8 or something like that. But we're so grateful to have it. And we started building the archives. Like I said, Susan was one of the original people with the archives. They moved from the classroom into the library. and she did a bunch of work over at the Hawaii archives on Oahu. And we've been trying to rebuild the collection ever since. We've been collecting yearbooks to fill in the collection. In fact, somebody just donated one of the yearbooks that we didn't have copies of, 1969. So that's awesome. And recently we've been distributing the yearbooks to people who have requested them. If they still want them, they can send in an application or a request for whatever they want through the archive committee. Go to our Lahainaluna's website. So Tara is our librarian. She is at least a second generation. Her dad was a graduate, and she and her sisters are graduates, and Tara's back as our librarian, and she's just wonderful. I mean, we couldn't ask for somebody better. And I don't know. Let's see.
Any updates, in addition to what Craig was sharing with the current boarding program and just the situation of the
Yeah,
students? I mean, in general, especially after the fire, how have
right.
things been in
Our
on the
student
campus?
population, yeah, our student population went from about 1,025 down to 700 something right now. Families moved away from Lahaina, families moved to the mainland, families moved to the other side. They relocated their kids to other programs, to other schools. So it's slowly 700, and I'm not sure, 740, something like that is what we've got now. Um, and yeah, we have a very small boarding department, but it's still there. And like Craig said, it's 5 days a week. They go home on the weekends. Something changed as well. Somebody said, "Who's maintaining the property?" Yeah, the custodians are maintaining the property. The custodians are maintaining the dorms. And that's so contrary to what happened when David was in school. David's 5 years younger than me, and when I was there, yeah, even when the girls were there, we no longer have swine. That was the last thing. Was that the last thing that closed down, Craig? Um, yeah, and we don't have a petting farm, which was part of the ag department. We still have a ag learning center at the school. And yeah, I went out recruiting as well when I was a part-time teacher for the ag department or the learning center. Yeah, I went to Oahu recruiting, and a lot of people had no idea. They thought Lahainaluna was a private school, which was really interesting, or a school for reform. I have a classmate who was told that that was his last chance before he was going to be sent to what is it, Olumana Homes or something. So things have changed quite a bit. So yeah, the boarders are there 5 days a week. Like they had David Malo Day last weekend, and it was a closed weekend, which means that nobody could check out. Everybody stayed in the dorms, and we had staffing to cover that. And the school, so the school is no longer maintained by the boarders. It's maintained by the custodians. The other thing I wanted to share is that we have a principal and we have 5 vice principals. And each vice principal is assigned to a grade level, and the 5th one is assigned to boarding. So what I grew up with as being the principal's cottage is now the vice principal's cottage. And that changed about 4 years ago, I think, where we had somebody who was considering being our principal before Mr. Korose was taken up and hired. It was just the person before him. And they said that the only way they would be able to become the principal was if there was a vice principal assigned strictly to boarding, and they were the ones that were going to live on campus. So that's what happened. Our old Bobby Watson Foreman, his cottage is above the new cafeteria. and that's where the principal lives. So he does live on campus. And what we knew as the principal's cottage is where the vice principal of boarding lives, and that's their job, is to oversee boarding. They don't participate necessarily in the day operations, but we have the other 4 vice principals. Yeah, so that was radically different. Yeah.
Well, really appreciate all those updates, especially for those who have a different kind of memory of the place. Um, Jen, are you available to speak? Would love to hear from you, also, if you're available, Jen. Maybe not now. I know you were on earlier. If you come back, it would be great to hear from you in your capacity as both part of the HK West Maui Community Fund and all the other community work that you're doing there. Um, Davey, I see you on now, and I know you wanted to graciously let us spend more of the time speaking, but would you be able to share something too, really a key part of this project? Emeritus Professor Daviana Micah McGregor, also former director of our Center for Oral History.
Yes, aloha, aloha kako. I'm here in Ahui Manu and enjoy listening to the stories and the experiences shared by everyone. I was able to help participate in the interviews on Molokai and learned so much about the conditions which led to people to go to the schools. I think for the old timers, they felt they had more freedom at the school than in the strict households in which they lived and came from. And I think a few of them are saying they worked more hard at home than at the school, even though they were getting up at 4:30 to do the dairy and all the work that they were doing. That Lahainaluna was an experience that was broadened their horizons and felt that it gave them their core values that they live by, to be self-motivating, industrious, and responsible, and also applying the skills that they had learned at Lahainaluna. So it's really an honor. I've always admired those who I have met from Lahainaluna, and that I felt that they had a private school education because of all the special experiences and mentoring that they received, and so it was good to affirm that and to learn more about the importance of the school. And in our history, Lahainaluna is so important because of the Lahainaluna scholars who went out and did their oral histories. The work of David Malo, and when he went out to interview those kupuna who were living at the time, who had been raised in the time of Kamehameha, and all that they documented about from their kupuna at that time has become our national history as Native Hawaiians. And so this history that we are now gathering from among you hopefully will also be part of our national history moving forward, and the lessons that we learned to work together to achieve common goals. And I do hope that the alumni will succeed in getting the support needed for the dorms. I think now education is going back to having our students learn more practical skills in high school, and life skills, than just the humanities or social sciences, although that's where we are. But there's also the recognition that these life skills are so important to learn, which is evident in among the people who we interviewed. So mahalo for sharing your experiences, and again, making your history part of our national history. Aloha.
Oh, mahalo. Aloha, Davy. Thank you so much for that. Um, I think this is maybe a nice time to start transitioning towards the close of our presentation here. Micah, if you could pull up the next slides again, and I'll just have a couple closing words before I invite Eddie Espiritu to share, but we'll get our couple of slides that we have left here first. And if we could just switch over to the slideshow. Yep. All right. And there's
OMG.
Kaveh and Susan and to the point that Daviana just, left us with, the important scholarship and work historically that has happened um for the for the nation, our Hawaiian nation, and an inclusive Hawaiian kingdom that was multi-ethnic. Our project was focused on Native Hawaiian borders, but there's so many other borders also with their stories. And my understanding, and maybe Craig, you can jump in, if there is a continuation of the project with the Lahainaluna Borders Association. I know at one point there was at least another interview that you all had conducted that we tried to at least give some technical support, and in that capacity, we're able to at least help share, knowledge, resources, tips that we have. But Craig, is there still um, any efforts to record any more if people
I've
wanted to share after seeing this?
I've done 5 interviews already. I just need to learn how to send them to you or who to send it to.
Okay, we'll follow up with
You
you.
guys can, if you can send me and email contact, and I can work with them in getting the interviews out. We also had one of the persons that we interviewed also passed recently. So, I think it was in the class of 1956. So, it's really important, that we get all of this, information there. But yeah, and I'm going to continue to interview, and hopefully we can add to this project.
Mahalo nui. And Kavehi, you're on. Um,
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
oh no, I'm just saying you're tagged again, but you don't need to speak right now. You'll just get ready to transcribe. Haha. And with that, if we can go to the next slide, again, I did dedicate this earlier to those who had passed, including Auntie Lori. We're sad we didn't get the opportunity to do a full interview with her. Um, but she had played such an important role with the Borders Chorus, and just this long presence there that helped always give clarity to the importance of the experience in the school. And this comes from one of the videos on the story map, so you can go scroll. I think it's the first video that I pulled some of this text out of, but really reflecting on yonder Lahaina Mountains, that song among those three that are some of those core ones that are sung, as a reference to Pu'u Pa'u, where the L is etched and standing as a beacon reminding us that this is where the torch of learning takes place and needs to be protected. Hill of Struggle, one translation for Pu'u Pa'u, referencing in the old days when people would go into the mountains to gather water from a waterfall to bring it down to the ali'i, and that being a struggle, and so naming that the Hill of Struggle. But really, in her words, that represents what we go through in life today. But we are resilient. We bounce back. Such beautiful words, and so inspirational, especially at this moment as Lahaina is making this move to come back, and the place of these stories and these memories within that effort. So mahalo to Auntie Lori, to all the narrators for all that you shared and to inspire all of us. And with that, I want to bring us to a close and ask Eddie Espiritu, a class of 1971, to share some final comments on behalf of the Lahainaluna Borders Association, and also to introduce, I'm going to play the alma mater at the very end. It's a recording made in 1971 that got posted up on YouTube. But when we do that, invite you all to sing along, but keep yourself on mute because if you unmute, then the sound gets all weird. But Eddie, could you share some final words for us?
Thanks, Kavika. Before I go into my final words, if any of you are boarders and you're not sure, or former boarders, and you're not sure if you are a member of the Lahainaluna Borders Association, I strongly recommend that you contact Craig Murakami or myself. Craig can be emailed at cmurakami.live.com, I think. Or brother, if you're on, you can tell everybody your email. Or you can email me lowercase letters espiritu53@gmail.com. If you're not getting our messages out there, please contact us so that you can be part of our communication group. I want to thank everybody that took part in this program. About 7-8 years ago, Auntie Lori would always see me and tell me, you got to come up to Borders Course and you got to tell them your stories. And what started was a Sunday going up and just talking story with the boarders, the border, and they graduated already. But as we talked to them, one of the things that they always used to ask us, and I had a hard time answering some of the questions, and some was real easy, but they'd always come back and they'd tell me, Uncle, how come we cannot do the kind of stuff you guys did? Which was important to them. Like Craig said, we were the last group of boarders that had the whole farm experience. Over the years, not blaming anybody, but a lot of that went away. And when the kids started asking us about doing stuff, we said, hey, we gotta go do stuff. But at the time I was still working, brother was still working. It was a little bit hard to do. And then brother retired a couple years ago, and he was like, you better retire quick too so we can start doing stuff. And then the current administration said, yeah, go do the revitalization of the orchard. And that was a start. Like Craig said, we've expanded a lot. But the stories that we share with the current boarders, it means a lot to them to understand the history, understand where we came from and where they're going, because we share a lot with them. They couldn't see it in the beginning because, like I said, a lot of things went away. But as we worked and we talked to them, and we just did a small curriculum on some of these, on our history. When I say our history, I'm talking about our border history. And it was a self-reflection on them, because one of the questions was, what are you getting out of this? Why did you want to become a boarder? And they had to look at it. But these kids, they came through with flying colors. And so when they hear this kind of thing, or they have access to our history, they can relate, even if it's in a small way, but they can relate to say, oh yeah, I do that. I can do that. I did that. They're not gonna wake up like my older brother Abner said, we share the same thing. When he was a freshman, he had to milk cows. When I was a freshman, years later, I had to milk cows. So those are things that we share. Yeah. And so it's important. And I really want to thank all of you for sharing our history as boarders, because as we go up there every week, we work with them and we remind them. And you know what? In the beginning, the light was kind of dim, But now coming the end of the school year, they're beginning to understand and have that pride. It means something to be a border. And these kids are getting it, thanks to you. Okay, and with that, the tape that Kāwika gonna play, funny because when he asked me to do this, the guy that put the YouTube broadcast out was my roommate. About 12, 13 years ago, he did his first YouTube broadcast. And he did this song. With that time?
Ay, mahalo nui. And I'm gonna ask Micah to put it on because I had technical difficulties in playing things earlier. So Micah, could you bring up the YouTube video for us and um, invite you all to join in and sing along. So go for it, Micah. Mahalo everyone for joining us tonight. And if Micah, if you could just put up the final slide that we're gonna close with. If you're interested in following us and supporting us more at our center, we've got our contacts here. Oh yes, yeah. If you are interested, yeah, we've got a little opportunity. You can bring out your phone to do a QR code scan. Leave it for a minute here if you want to do an evaluation for us. Again, unfortunately, these things always need to be assessed. I mean, I think we all felt the deep aloha here, and you can't measure that in surveys, but monies get flown through surveys, unfortunately. But if you have a time to support and do a quick evaluation for us, here's this code, and here we are too. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all of that's accessible from our oralhistory.hawaii.edu website, but and then the email directly if you want any more information on this project, any of other projects, cohes@hawaii.edu. And yeah, that's the end of our program. Mahalo nui. Thank you all so much. Really, really appreciate all of you taking the time, and we'll post this recording, I think, on YouTube probably. And yeah, so mahalo, and feel free to unmute and say aloha if you want to. And thank you all.
Hallelujah.
Aloha.
Aloha nui loa.
Aloha.
Aloha, hui hou.
Aloha. Hui hou.
Mahalo.
Bye,
We hope.
everyone.
Bye bye. Hui hou. Kavehi, I'm not joking. Oh, she disappeared. We're getting you, Kavehi.
By the way, my email is C Murakami, Murakami at live.com.
Oh yeah.
We meet quarterly, and we take notes, and we can keep you informed of everything that we're doing at the school. And we can always use volunteers. So, I mean, please contact me, so I can get you registered and get you involved in the program with us. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Mahalo nui,
Mahalo.
everyone. Have a good night.
Mahalo.
Good night.
Bye.